Jyare Davis, welcome to the Cuse.
You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Locked On Syracuse. I'm Jackson Holzer. Thank you for making us your first listen of every single day on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And Jyare Davis, your team is now Syracuse. Let's go. You should be fired up just like I am because Jyare Davis is a really, really good basketball player, everyone. He's really good, and we're going to love him in Orange. A Delaware transfer forward, 6'7". He can do it all. Jyare Davis, welcome to the Cuse. Welcome to the Cuse. On today's show, who is Jyare Davis? Why you should be so excited about him. Plus, Syracuse has a pretty elite front court right now when you look at it. It's pretty strong out there. I'd venture to say it might be one of the best in the ACC right now. Plus, there's been other portal news that has come from Syracuse lately. We're going to dive all into it on today's show. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150, win or lose. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. All right, who is Jyare Davis? Well, if you are a returning listener, first of all, welcome back. Thank you very much. You have probably heard by now who Jyare Davis is, but that's okay. Here's another refresher for you. And if you are new, first of all, welcome to the podcast. We deliver Monday through Friday. We also have other bonus content here. You're about to learn about who Jyare Davis is. Jyare Davis is a 4-star transfer forward from Delaware. He is 6'7". He averaged 17 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 assists last season, 47% from the field and 26% from the three-point line. So not much of an outside shooter, but he is highly, highly effective in the mid-range. And one thing that's certainly encouraging about Jyare Davis is his first 2 years in college. When he was at Delaware, he was a mid-60s free throw shooter. He would shoot like 67, 65% in 2021 and 2022, 23, etc. You get what I'm saying. In the mid-60s free throw shooting. But last year, he was over 80%. So this is someone who has worked on his free throws and can certainly hit them at now an over 80% clip. And the free throw line doesn't change in the ACC. Still the same. So someone who can hit their free throws, who can store in the mid-range, but not much of an outside shooter. On 3, senior recruiting analyst Jamie Shaw, I had him on the show a couple of weeks ago. He said that Jyare Davis is a big physical forward. Honestly, he's kind of similar to Maliq Brown. I would say he's better than Maliq Brown on the offensive end because Jyare Davis is someone who can create their own shot on offense, can pick his spots, get in the mid-range, hit effective contested jumpers, get to the free throw line, knock down the free throws. Whereas Maliq Brown, he can score, obviously, but is more known for his defense. Maliq Brown's someone who was first-team All-ACC defense last season and had the most steals in the history of the conference by any center. So Jyare Davis, not expecting him to come in and have the same defensive impact as Maliq Brown. But when you're looking at a team need standpoint from Syracuse here, how many guys on the team last year could create their own shot? How many? Judah Mintz and J.J. Starling. You're looking at next season, Jyare Davis can create his own shot. J.J. Starling is still there. He can create his own shot. We'll see if there's anything else that comes. Dakota Lefew, if you're listening, you might want to join us too. He can create his own shot. Donnie Freeman, he can do it too. And we'll get to more of the front court in the second half, or not in the second half, in the second segment of the show. Point being, Jyare Davis, someone who fills a need, who can create their own shot on offense. And Naheem McLeod, well done. I got to give Naheem McLeod another shout out here because he has been on the recruiting trail, getting all these guys to come here, or at least consider us at the very least. He just seems like a good dude. Naheem McLeod Bravo to you. But anyways, what has Jyare Davis said about his commitment to Syracuse? Got some quotes for you. He says he thinks it's a perfect blend of things that I wanted when I entered the portal. There are a lot of guys that enter the portal to chase money and all of that, but I wanted to chase a bigger stage, an opportunity to continue to prove myself as a basketball player, and all of those things were provided by Coach Red at Syracuse. Seems like a very genuine response. Someone who is not necessarily looking for the biggest role in the world, but rather he's looking to create that opportunity for himself, meaning earn the spot, earn the playing time, not just find a school that is automatically going to make him the starter. That's what I take from that statement. I'm coming to Syracuse. I want a greater challenge from Delaware. I think my abilities can match up to the ACC, which is, by the way, the best conference in all of college basketball. Sorry if you root for another conference and you're watching this channel. And I don't want it handed to me. I want to earn that opportunity to be a starter and to play valuable minutes for this team next season. He also said on what he brings to Syracuse, more so than just any jump shot that I make or any rebound, I think Syracuse is going to get someone that wants to win day in and day out. I want to help get Syracuse back to the legendary tradition that it has. Again, this guy's media trained. That's a good response. Someone who wants to obviously get the tradition back. Syracuse hasn't been in the tournament in 3 years. That's a very long time. It's been over half a century since Syracuse has done that. Gone 3 straight years without an NCAA tournament berth, rather. Those are good responses. Got to credit to him. Got to give credit where it's due. He knows how to handle the media pretty well. Doesn't want anything handed to him. He's coming here for a bigger opportunity and to help establish the rich tradition that Syracuse basketball, of course, has. Now, something that I like to do, if you are a returning viewer, once again, you have heard this before, I like to see what these guys have done against Power 5 competition. So, did a little research for you. Jyare Davis, this season, he only played against the Big East Xavier one time. He scored 17 points, scored 19 points in that game. Take that for what it's worth. But if you can score almost 20 points against Xavier, which is a Big East team, not saying you're going to score 20 every single night at Syracuse, but hey, that's nothing to sneeze at here. It's not like he's going against this stiffer competition and then nosedive, right? He also scored, as a freshman, 17 points in the NCAA tournament against Villanova. Now, I know that Delaware got blown out in that game, but Jyare Davis was a bright spot for Delaware, scoring 17 points on 7 of 10 shooting, and he was only a freshman doing that. Obviously, now he's going to be a senior. So, I got high hopes for him as far as where I see him fitting in the rotation. He could start at the 3. He could start at the 4 because he can also rebound. He's 6'7", so it would be a little bit of an undersized 4, but he's a great rebounder, so he can make up for that. I can also see him being the 6th, 7th man on the team because, as I'm about to get to, Syracuse has a pretty elite front court. So that's Jyare Davis, 6'7" forward from Delaware, 4-star transfer, averaged 17 points and 8 rebounds last season. Very effective at creating his own shot. Very efficient as well. Good free throw shooter. Not so much an outside shooter. Better scorer than Maliq Brown, but not so much the defender that Maliq Brown was. Now coming up, Syracuse has a pretty elite front court. Let's talk about it. It's playoff time in the NBA and NHL. Baseball's in full swing, and FanDuel is your place to bet on every game. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150, win or lose. Bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks on an app that is safe, secure, and easy to use. One bet that I'm looking at as a Florida Panthers fan is Panthers Leafs over 4.5 goals total. Odds are currently minus 189 for that bet, and with 2 high-powered offenses, I like those odds. What are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make your first bet an automatic win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Guys, I need you all to listen up for this huge announcement. I have been tracking the leaderboards every day, keeping my eye on the scores, putting all my heart into it, and I'm super pumped to announce I am finally on top. That's right. Obviously, I'm talking about the hit mobile game Monopoly Go. You've probably heard of it. It's been downloaded over 150 million times. It's a great mobile twist on classic Monopoly. You can play anywhere, anytime. You explore hundreds of Monopoly boards from Las Vegas to Camelot to the moon, all while raking in a huge fortune. Charge rent on iconic properties just like classic Monopoly. You can charge your friends rent on your iconic properties or go after their Monopoly money by pulling bank heists and taking wrecking balls to their landmarks. My favorite part is the leaderboards where you can see who's a Monopoly tycoon and who's gone bankrupt. So go get yourself on the charts. Download Monopoly Go, now free on the App Store and Google Play. It's Locked On's NFL Mock Draft live on April 17th at 7 Eastern, streaming on the Locked On Sports Today 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Find the ultimate 6-episode series on April 17th at 7 Eastern to hear who the local Locked On experts are picking for every NFL franchise, with live reactions from local college football experts and even the fantasy football angle. The Locked On NFL Mock Draft on April 17th at 7 Eastern, streaming on Locked On Sports Today 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Welcome back, everyone, into Locked On Syracuse. I'm Jackson Holzer, and Jyare Davis has transferred from Delaware to Syracuse. It has been rumored for quite some time, and it is now official. It came from himself. And if you know the reference from Twitter over these last couple of days, good on you. If you don't, maybe do a little quick research after watching or listening to this podcast. Thank you so much, everyone. Your team every day here on the Locked On Podcast Network. We've talked about who Jyare Davis is already. 6'7" forward who averages 17 points and 8 rebounds per game last season. Now it's time to talk about that front court. Folks, Syracuse has a pretty good problem on its hands right now. It's a good problem. And I know that's an oxymoron, a good problem. They got a lot of good players in the front court. They got a lot of them. Jyare Davis, obviously, who just transferred in. I just told you all the reasons why I think this guy is a pretty good player. Had Jamie Shaw on the podcast, and he said, yep, he's a pretty good player. Physical. Good scorer. Chris Bell. I know he's not perfect. He's not a perfect all-around basketball player by any means. But Chris Bell has an elite trait, which by default, honestly, makes him good. He was third in the ACC in three-point percentage last season. Third. So that's a good start. You got Jyare Davis and you got Chris Bell. Okay. Well, who else do you got? Oh, 5-star freshman Donnie Freeman is coming to Syracuse next season. McDonald's All-American. First one since, I believe, Maliq Richardson. He's pretty good, right? 6'9", 5-star power forward. Scouts have been raving about his size, his ability to shoot. He hit 2 threes in the McDonald's All-American game. Folks, you can start to see where I'm going with here with this elite front court that Syracuse now has. And finally, how can I forget the main piece, or one of the main pieces, the center. Another transfer, Eddie Lampkin from Colorado. Don't forget about him just because it's been a few weeks since the transfer happened. That was a pretty early one. And then I had to tell you guys, because it's been a little bit, that don't panic just yet. It's early in the transfer portal process. Eddie Lampkin, 6'11", 300 pounds. But he's not just big. Folks, he averaged 10 points and 7 rebounds last year. He's a 4-star transfer. ESPN, I saw recently had him at like 79 overall in the transfer rankings. Now, the other sites are a little bit lower on him than that, but still a consensus 4-star transfer center. Not the greatest in the world. He has his faults. He only had 5 blocks all of last season. But Eddie Lampkin might be the best passing big man now in the ACC. I'm not joking. He's an excellent passer at center. He can score a little bit. He's an effective rebounder. He's especially good on the offensive end. Offensive rebounding, certainly a concern for Syracuse over these past few seasons. I'd say that Syracuse has a pretty elite front court right now. And this is a good problem to have because I know what you guys are probably asking, well, who's going to start? Well, Eddie Lampkin, I would say, is locked in to start. He's going to be the starting center. He's going to start, right? And I think Chris Bell will start too because you need some sort of shooting in your starting lineup. Chris Bell does that. So then it comes down to Jyare Davis and Donnie Freeman. You can only start 5. You can only start 5. Someone's got to come off the bench. And let's date back a little bit. Weeks ago on this podcast, I talked about the big man conundrum where Syracuse brings in a center because they have Donnie Freeman coming in. Someone's got to sit on the bench. Someone has got to be the 6th or 7th man on this team. That's a good problem. They brought in Eddie Lampkin. Maliq Brown transfers. In comes Jyare Davis. Yes. Okay. I can get behind that because my theory has always been you got to get the talent first. You have to get the talent. If you don't have the talent, you can't win. At least win big without talent. Syracuse has an elite front court right now. And I know it's still early on here in this transfer portal process. Maybe not so much early, but still so much up in the air in terms of what these other rosters around the ACC are going to look like. But just thinking off the top of my head, I don't think Syracuse has to have one of the 5 best front courts in the conference. They have to have one of the 5 best, if not much higher than that. I know that Duke has a great recruiting class coming in, and they might get Maliq Brown. Spoiler to next segment. I know that North Carolina is North Carolina, but they're going to lose Armando Bacot. That's nothing to sneeze at. Folks, Syracuse might have one of the best front courts in the conference next season. The fact that one of Donnie Freeman or Jyare Davis might be coming off the bench next year is a pretty good problem to have. I am so pumped about this edition of Jyare Davis. Man, I'm about this one. This felt good. Now, Dakota Lefeview, side note, he did like the thing on Twitter with Jyare Davis, or not on Twitter, on Instagram. He liked it. Could he be coming too? Only time will tell, right? Now, coming up, there has been other portal news for Syracuse. Let's talk about it. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. And guys, LinkedIn is a tool that I use all the time to find the latest opportunities because LinkedIn isn't just a job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job, but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. LinkedIn knows that small businesses are wearing so many hats and might not have the time or resources to hire. LinkedIn is constantly finding ways to make the process easier. They even just launched a feature that helps you write job descriptions, making the process even easier and quicker. 2.5 million small businesses use LinkedIn for hiring. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channels app. Welcome back, everyone, into Locked On Syracuse. I'm Jackson Holzer, and we've discussed Jyare Davis coming to Syracuse and why Syracuse has an elite front court. Someone's got to come off the bench. That's a good problem to have. That's a really good problem to have. But there's been other news on the Hill as of late with Syracuse and the transfer portal. But this is going to be more towards the guys that Syracuse had and then entered the portal. Let's start off with the definite commitments, guys who are 100% leaving, because remember, just because you enter the transfer portal doesn't mean you can't go back to your current team. But anyways, Benny Williams recently committed to UCF. Last year, he averaged for his career, he averaged 5 points, 3 rebounds on 42% shooting, 29% from three. Benny Williams, a former 4 or 5-star recruit, depending on what recruiting site you use, just could never live up to the hype really here at Syracuse. And I wish him nothing but the best. I hope Florida treats him well. I'm from Florida, from that area. But UCF did not win the 2017 national championship in football. Sorry. But I wish Benny Williams best of luck. He's going to UCF. Peter Carey. Peter Carey, he averaged less than a point and a rebound per game in his career at Syracuse. He is going to Siena. He is following GMAC over there. So good for Peter Carey. You know, this is when a player is struggling in the Power 5 and what was once the Power 6, Pac-12, rest in peace. Sometimes what these players need is to go into the mid-majors, and they go to the mid-majors and they develop there. That's what they do. It's kind of like the opposite of Jyare Davis. Jyare Davis from Delaware, mid-major, proves himself, does well, all-conference player, transfers up to Syracuse. Well, Peter Carey, someone who really could never find his footing with the team. He gets to go to an opportunity in Siena where he's probably going to start. Maybe he can show some potential and then transfer back up into the Power 5. That is the goal for many of these guys, I would think. And the other one that is definite, and this tweet kind of went viral, is Justin Taylor. So Justin Taylor committed to James Madison. He averaged 5 points, 4 rebounds on 35% from the field, 30% from the three-point line this past season. Obviously, not the greatest numbers in the world for Justin Taylor. Here's the deal. My tweet, pretty much, it blew up pretty good. In case you don't know, Justin Taylor said on his Instagram story that he always looked better in purple, or he always liked purple better than orange anyway. Kind of taking a shot at Syracuse. And here's the thing. I always wish these guys nothing but the best. I want these guys to do well. I don't wish ill will. Like, I'm not going to be like, I hope Justin Taylor does terrible at JMU or whatever. They're just making decisions that are best for themselves. But at the same time, if you're going to dish it, you got to be able to take it. I would not be talking junk if I were you. That's just me. I wouldn't be talking junk. Your numbers weren't that good, Justin Taylor. They weren't that good. You had to transfer because of it. I hope you can develop at JMU. I think it could be a good spot. And maybe you can prove yourself and get back into the Power 5. I just wouldn't be talking smack. I grew up playing hockey. I know, I grew up playing hockey in South Florida. And I was never a big trash talker, but I always got a kick out of if my team was winning and it was, let's say, an insurmountable margin late in the game, and the other team would just be talking trash. I would always get a kick out of it because it's like, what's the point? What are you doing here? You're focused on the wrong thing. That's kind of what it seemed like with Justin Taylor to me. It's like, why are you doing this? You're talking smack. You averaged 5 points and 4 rebounds on 30% from three-point shooting, and you are considered a three-point shooter. I just wouldn't be doing that. That's what I have to say about it. I wish him the best. Hope he does well. Anyways, let's go to Maliq Brown, who is visiting Duke on Wednesday. Ooh, that's an interesting one. Last year, he averaged 10 points and 7 rebounds and was first team all ACC defense last year. Most steals in the history of the conference by a center. Now, it's very interesting what this fit could be for Duke. Definitely can see the upside. Tons of opportunity. NIL money, I imagine, is pretty high at Duke. I don't know exact, but I imagine he's going to be getting a lot of money if he were to obviously commit. It's only a visit. But Duke has 3 5-star front court players coming in, including Cooper Flagg, who is the number 1 overall player in this high school class. So Maliq Brown, it's a great opportunity, and it's possible he would start next year for Duke if he were to commit. But man, that's tough. I mean, I wish him the best. That's tough, but good for Maliq Brown, at least for exploring the option of going to Duke. It's great. Anyways, Quadir Copeland, last I've heard, he has been contacted by Kansas, Kansas State, McNeese State, Memphis, Mississippi State, and NC State. So another in-conference potential transfer. And with Quadir Copeland, by the way, this is public knowledge. Like, you can go look it up, what schools Quadir Copeland has been contacted by. Last year, he averaged 10 points and 5 rebounds. He was the runner-up for the 6th man. I thought he should have won it because he was actually a 6th man, unlike the guy who won it. The transfer was reportedly mutual, though, between him and Coach Autry, so I cannot envision Quadir Copeland coming back to Syracuse. Just can't do it. Maliq Brown, same deal. He's visiting Duke. Can't see him coming back to Syracuse, but I don't think that transfer was mutual. I think that was Maliq Brown probably saying, I want out. So that's the update on the Hill. We have Benny Williams to UCF, Peter Carey to Siena, Justin Taylor to James Madison, Maliq Brown visiting Duke, and Quadir Copeland, who has been contacted by a number of schools. We'll keep up to date here with all these guys in the transfer portal. Of course, with players coming in as well. Dakota Lefew, you're on the clock. You're on the clock, my man. But anyways, Jyare Davis is a member of Syracuse. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. If you like this video, click that like button. And if you really liked it, subscribe to the channel. Turn on those notifications because you never know when I'm going to be dropping the next episode here on Locked On Syracuse. Usually, if you are a new viewer, 9 a.m. Monday through Friday. But when there's breaking news and I have time to record and get an episode up, I might just post it the night before. So you're going to want to turn on those notifications. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Take care, everyone.